Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we will be exploring a possible theory for Bendy and the Dark Revival that may explain both the character of Audrey, who seems to be the central protagonist we will be playing in the upcoming game, as well as clarifying events from Bendy and the Ink Machine 2. This theory ties both the old and new game together, explains why characters cross over in both titles, and also finally sheds light on the origin of those cryptic secret messages revealed when using the Seeing Eye tool. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into a brand new theory for Bendy and the Dark Revival. We must begin by introducing Audrey, perhaps a character you are unfamiliar with at this point. Recently, on the official Bendy Twitter account, this new character was revealed, and she appears to be the character we will be playing as in the story of Dark Revival. How do we know this? Well, let's look at the gameplay trailer that released a few months ago, and this gave us our first look at our new protagonist. Like Audrey, she had one hand mutated by ink and the other still human. She wore the same cardigan as we can see in this shot here. The stitching and colour are a match. But most notably of all, the character in this trailer had a special power. Upon laying her hand upon a Butcher Gang member, we saw the creature dematerialize into a mass of light shards. It seems this mysterious woman has the ability to set a soul free from its inky prison. Look at Audrey's hand and we can see a mysterious swirling pattern, one that glows a bright yellow. The same glow can be seen in Audrey's eyes. This evidence suggests she possesses special powers and so once again fits this comparison. All but confirming she is Dark Revival's hero, a character the Meatly said was someone we had never heard of before. But how does Audrey tie the story of Bendy and the Dark Revival to that of Bendy and the Ink Machine? Well, if we jump to chapter 5 of Henry's adventure in the original game, while locked away in his cell, we can use the Seeing Eye tool to observe secret messages and drawings left for him above his bed. These secret messages are written in glowing yellow markings, the same glow as we see in Audrey's eyes. Previously, I had assumed these messages were being left by a past version of Henry from a previous time. As we know, Henry, along with other prisoners of the studio, are stuck in a never-ending loop, where history continuously repeats itself. One where there is seemingly no escape. But when trying to explain how and why Henry would leave these messages, something always bothered me. If he remembered in one reality to write stuff like this down for himself, why not use that information to try and change things then and there? But if a different person left these messages to warn Henry and help him out, that would explain a lot and change our interpretation of events. Look at the spiral marking here, and above it the line, "Trust her." This spiral looks similar to the marking we see on Audrey's hand. Audrey is telling Henry to trust her, although in Bendy and the Ink Machine on that timeline they never actually meet. This suggests that Henry may appear at some point in the Dark Revival as a character we help out during our adventure, perhaps finally setting him free and breaking his cycle. The spiral on Audrey's hand also reminds us of something else from our first journey through Joey Drew's studios, the rebirth screen. Upon dying, Henry would be reborn through this swirling light chamber and spring back to life at a Bendy statue. When Audrey lays hands on the enemy in this trailer, she destroys it in a flash of light. In this world, the swirl represents life and death, and both of these seem tied directly to Audrey. She has the power to destroy the darkness and free those trapped inside into the light. So back to those secret light messages. With this new context, they make far more sense. For example, instead of Henry smugly gushing over his artistic talent when looking at this artwork, it was in fact Audrey paying him a compliment. It was Audrey warning Henry of Allison's cowardly retreat, leaving him for dead. It was Audrey guiding Henry out of the cell and toward the boat in order to escape Bendy's arrival. And the more we read into these messages, the more we begin to understand what may be happening in the story of Bendy and the Dark Revival. Earlier this year, Bendy's creators made mention this new game was neither a prequel nor sequel to the original. However, as time went by, it became obvious Dark Revival was to feature many familiar faces. So how does a game like this exist without being either a prequel or sequel? The answer is simple, by being both at the same time. Let me explain. When looking at the lead up to the title reveal for this new Bendy game, the Joey Drew Studios YouTube channel frequently uploaded audio logs from various workers at the studio we were familiar with. These workers spoke of conditions at the studio and what they were up to in their various roles. Here are a few quick clips to refresh your memory.
I saw Mr. Drew the other day, meeting with that Connor fellow holding some papers.
I think they saw me looking though.
Just too many secrets being cooked up in the kitchen.
I'd know better. I'd say there was magic there.
Well-calculated understanding between creation, big things are coming, and creator, massive things.
That smile.
You just learn to go with it.
He's always watching me.
You just watch.
I've got a good feeling something great is going to happen.
What's interesting about these recordings is that they are each recorded in different years, starting around the time Henry left the studio and Joey decided to expand, all the way up to when, as we learn from the Dreams Come to Life novel, Joey began human experimentation with the ink machine, bringing his cartoon creations to life using the souls of his employees. The concept of time spanning many years was present from the start, the idea being that this game is indeed a prequel expanding on the stories of characters we now know and love. However, I don't believe the game will be a full-blown prequel, rather it will contain elements of one. You see, if Audrey is the person leaving those secret messages, then it implies she has explored these inky hallways long before Henry showed up on the scene. Audrey was most likely an employee who worked for Joey Drew around the time he began using workers for his shady ink machine experiments. This explains messages such as "Joey lied to us," a message that now makes much more sense as it implies Audrey is talking about her and the rest of the studio employees who were lied to and tricked into giving up their souls. It also makes sense when looking at how Audrey speaks of Bendy. She writes, "He was born here," across Henry's desk. It would be odd of Henry to write such an obvious statement himself, and this implies Audrey worked at the studio after Henry's departure. In the gameplay trailer, Audrey wakes up in her new body, and we can tell she is confused by her transformation.
This feels wrong.
She seems afraid of her surroundings and certainly not in any shape to be leaving cryptic clues. This is because part of Dark Revival will almost certainly tell the story of Audrey's origins. How she was born from the ink machine into the cartoon world of the studio, inhabited by other employees such as Susie Campbell, Sammy Lawrence, and of course Buddy. Yes, we now know why those secret messages refer to this Boris clone as Buddy when Henry never actually met that worker, because Audrey most likely did. However, it may also tell the story of how Audrey grows acquainted with her new powers and uses them to try and change the twisted fate of those around her, to try and break the never-ending cycle and set everyone free. How she will achieve this is a mystery. However, it means that, as with the audio recordings we looked at earlier, the story of Dark Revival will span many years, both revisiting past timelines and future ones too. For example, we may see a frustrated Audrey smashing the mirror here as she sees her face for the first time since her inky mutation. Remember the writing from the gameplay trailer which read, "The machine must endure." This now makes much more sense. The machine must endure the passing course of time. This theory also explains why Bendy's appearance changes too. In a recent t-shirt released for the game, we saw Bendy take on a far more human-looking guise with realistic teeth, and this hinted at him potentially having a voice in this new game, the voice we hear in this trailer.
How very interesting. Such knowledge.
This would be Bendy's evolved state, the form he takes in timelines from the future as we progress further into Dark Revival's story. while we may also get to see his original birth in a sequence from the past. Essentially, I believe, with the information we currently have, that the narrative of this new game will time hop between events from the past, present, and future to tell its story of a cycle being broken. Audrey being the character to connect everyone throughout these loops, an anomaly created by the ink machine who may have the power to set things right and set us free. And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at SuperHorrorBro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.